Good morning. I have a special treat for you today, or for some of you, maybe not, but there's going to be two shows today. Of course, I want to start my series that I have been chomping at the bit to do, my new series on jobs lost in America. And it's not what you think. I'm not going to be talking about DACA or illegal immigrants coming into this country and stealing our lawn working jobs and our nanny jobs and our maid jobs and whatever jobs that we accuse them of stealing. That's not what this is about at all. I think it's going to be cathartic for me to finally be able to talk about this out loud. And I also think it could be a learning experience for some of you who think that the only threat to American jobs comes from south of the border. It does not. It comes from millions, thousands of miles away. And it comes from people who have never stepped foot on American soil. It's going to be a good series. It's going to air today and tomorrow. And if it has to go a third day, it will go a third day. That's up to me because it is my show. So first of all, I'm going to start out by saying that this story is very personal for me. Some of you know why, and all of you will know why after tomorrow. First, I have to do a little backstory, and that's what today's show is about. It is the life of an independent contractor. Now, we all know that tech, computers, coding, web development, it's a big deal. We tell our young kids, learn computers. Learn everything you can about computers. Learn how to get the bugs out. Learn how to be tech support. Learn how to code. Learn how to build websites. And you will have a good job after you learn all that. And that's true. Computer programmers, web developers, software developers, and people who can write code are very easily employable. They get good jobs and they make good money. But here's the glitch. Many of these people are hired as independent contractors. This is why. Employers, it's kind of like your secretary goes out on maternity leave and you hire a temp. Basically, these employers have a need. They have a big project. And they don't have the salaried staff, the permanent staff, to make the project happen at the time they want it to happen. So they go out looking for an independent contractor. And I'm going to tell you, independent contractors make a lot of money. The pro of being an independent contractor is you name your price. You say, look, I can do the work. This is my resume. This is what I've done in the past. I can do the project. I can get it in on time. And this is what you're going to pay me. And the good thing about being an independent contractor is if the employer says, I'm not paying that, the independent contractor says, well, it was good to meet you. Fine. And they go on to the next job they have open, the next interview. So independent contractors can make really good money. And I can tell you the discrepancy. Okay, so say there's an independent contractor and he's doing a 6-month contract. He can bill anywhere from $75 an hour to $100 an hour. Whereas if that same man or woman were an employee, a salaried employee at a big company or at the same company that's hiring them as an independent contractor, they would make $50 to $60 an hour. That's a big difference in hourly wage. Okay? So that's the pro of being an independent contractor. You can make really good money. But it's for a short period of time. Now, there is also a misconception. And I'm going to use easy math right now because as all of you know who have watched my show, I don't do math. Okay? And I am too proud to sit here with a computer while I'm talking to y'all. So I'm going to start out with a really good number because I know that most people say if you make $100,000 a year, you're doing good, right? I know the IRS really loves you. If you make $100,000 a year, yeah. So, okay, let's say independent contractor X makes $100,000 a year from his contract work. Wow, that's great money, right? oh my God, they can buy a new house, they can do all kinds of great vacations. Well, wait a minute, because here's where the cons come in. So there's that $100,000 sitting there, right? It's what the IRS will tax you on. That's your gross income, $100,000. But the only thing that employer that you're working for that's paying you $100,000 a year is responsible for is that salary. That's it. There are no benefits. There's no health insurance. There's no disability insurance. There's no 401k retirement plan. There is no workman's comp. Guess who gets to pay for all of that? You got it, the independent contractor, out of that $100,000 a year salary. So there's the $100,000, right? That's what you're getting taxed on by the IRS. Well, now health insurance. Now, we all know what health insurance premiums are like. Even for people who work for major companies and get their health insurance through their employers have seen their premiums skyrocket and their deductibles go up. Well, think about an individual who isn't part of a big group of 50 or 200 people. And I know this personally, that health insurance can cost $20,000 a year. Now, some of you are going to go, oh no, she's exaggerating. I'm including the deductible in the cost because you have to remember, the deductible is part of what you're going to pay out of pocket for medical expenses until you reach that magic number, which is usually around $75,000 to $8,000 a year. So I'm going to put health insurance at $20,000 a year. So now that $100,000 we have sitting out there, it's now $80,000. Okay? Now, let's talk about disability insurance, which is really hard to get, by the way. I know. I know that personally too, because my husband can't get it, and he's very healthy. Disability insurance is based on how much money you want someone to pay you, this insurance company to pay you, if you cannot work. Because guess what? If you're an independent contractor and you get sick and you can't work, chances are they're not going to hold your job for you. They're going to find somebody else because time is of the essence. They need this project done. So you're screwed. So really, a good independent contractor to protect himself and his family needs disability insurance. And depending on how much you want to earn while you're not working, the premiums go up. So I'm going to go, okay, we're at $80,000. I'm going to go because, again, math, anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 a year is what you'll pay for disability insurance. So now we're down to $75,000 a year that you're making that you can spend on living your life. Well, workman's comp. See, the employer, you're working at the employer's office, but they're not responsible. If you slip on the floor or fall down or run into a wall, they don't care. You're responsible. The independent contractor has to pay their own medical bills, so they have to provide workman's comp. In fact, most employers will not hire an independent contractor unless they have proof that they have workman's comp insurance individually. And to be honest with you, I don't know what workman's comp costs. I know my husband has it, but I do not know what it costs. I should have asked, but he's not here. So, but let's just put it at a nice even number again: $500 to $1,000 a year. So now we were at $75,000. Now we're at, like, I don't know, let's say $1,000 to make it simple. $74,000 a year is what we're making. Okay? We're being taxed at $100,000. But because we have to take care of everything ourselves that most people count on their employers for, we're now down from $100,000 to, what did I just say? $74,000. Better write this down. I'm going to confuse myself. $74,000. Okay. So I did disability, I did health, I did workman's comp. Oh, don't forget about one of the most important things, which is, of course, your 401k, your retirement, planning for your retirement, because we all know Social Security ain't going to cut it. So most people will try. I think legally you can put in like $5,000, $6,000 a year into your 401k. So now we're from $74,000. Let's say we put in. So now we're down to like $68,000 a year. Now guess what else we have to do with our $68,000 a year that started at $100,000? Oh, and our taxes. We got to remember the taxes on the $100,000. That's probably about $5,000. At least $5,000. $63,000 a year. Now we have to start living, right? We have to pay our mortgage. We have to pay our electric bill. We have to pay for groceries. We have to pay for clothes, car payments, car insurance, car maintenance, maintenance on our homes, property taxes, school taxes. You see how that big-ass six-figure number has come way, way, way down to almost poverty level, according to the government, when they say anyone who makes less than $75,000 gross gets subsidies, gets their neighbors to help pay their health insurance and food stamps and all this other good crap. Imagine you're making $100,000 a year. You're in the six-figure club. And all of a sudden, you have to support you, your wife, your children on $63,000 a year. Probably not going to take that trip to Disney or take your wife to Greece or Tahiti, right? I hope you're getting what I'm saying. And of course, it's a choice. You're going to say, well, nobody said you had to be an independent contractor. But it's a good job. It's a good living. And people love doing it. They love working with computers. They love writing code. And because these corporations don't want to hire full-time web developers, they just want them when they need them. Excuse me. That's where the jobs are. It's where the jobs are. I mean, if you're really good at flipping burgers, you're not going to go to Walmart and ask to get a job working in their deli. You're going to want to work at McDonald's or Wendy's or Burger King. If you're a chef, you're not going to want to work someplace where they don't have a kitchen. They go where the computers are. They go where the jobs are. That's what independent contractors do. Many independent contractors would love to have a full-time position with benefits for their family and some job security, some income security. But they're not out there because the employers see that they can have all the control and get the job done and make lots of money with the new website, the new products, the new apps that these web developers, these independent contractors do for them. But they don't have the responsibility to the employee like they would a full-time employee. Independent contractors do not get paid vacation or paid holidays. If the company closes at Christmas, you don't work on Christmas, but you also don't get paid, while everybody else who's a permanent employee gets paid. You get no paid vacation. As you can assume by now, my husband is an independent contractor, and in 9 years since he started contracting, he has not had a full week of vacation without having to do some form of work. And it's not just because we can't afford to lose a week of pay, which we can't, but most people can't. It's also because when you are contracted to do a project and time is of the essence, you need to be available 24/7. I can't tell you how many times my husband has had to work on a Saturday or a Sunday because his project was going to launch. And he needed to be online on a conference call in case something went wrong. He needed to be available. It's almost like being a doctor. And these projects are the patient. They need constant looking after, constant care. And that's what these independent contractors sign on for. They do it voluntarily, of course. But it's what they do. It's their job. And like I said before, it is very difficult to get a permanent job, web developing, coding, because employers see that they have all the control if they go independent contractor. And there's something else that's very interesting about an independent contractor and the employers who, I'm not going to say take advantage of them. They agree on a price, they pay it, it's fine. However, sometimes the employer doesn't always pay on time. I know of a situation once where the independent contractor was not getting paid. And that contractor had to go to the employer and say, you don't pay me like today, I'm going to a lawyer. And the employer gave this contractor a credit card because obviously the company that the contractor was working for was failing. So after being threatened with a lawyer, this employer handed over a credit card and paid the contractor what he was owed for work that he had done. So that's something else you got to worry about when you're an independent contractor, getting paid on time. And then, of course, you see the writing on the wall when your employer is giving you a personal credit card to pay your salary. You kind of know it's time to start looking for another job. But there are other times when there is no notice that the job is coming to an end. And sometimes when there are long-term contracts, when the contracts keep getting renewed year after year after year, and 1 year turns to 2 years, and 2 years turns to 3 years, you start getting comfortable, and that's something an independent contractor should never do, is get comfortable and assume that all of a sudden they are a permanent employee. Because as I said, the employer has all the control. You serve at the privilege of the employer, and they can pull the rug out from under you anytime they want. No notice, nothing. Just, okay, project's done, you're out. No severance pay, no notice, no nothing. You walk into the office, they say, oh, we don't need you today. In fact, we don't need you ever again. Or, worse, you get an email. Well, it's been nice working with you. Your contract's up, we're not renewing it, you're out. And they usually do this the day the contract expires. Sometimes there are warning signs. Sometimes, not always. We're going to discuss that more tomorrow. And look, the bottom line is the basis of this show and the show tomorrow is to warn anybody out there that there is an underworld in the computer world that is scheming to take jobs away from American computer programmers, computer developers, and coders, tech people, even tech support. There is something working in the background that most of you don't even know about. And it has nothing to do with people sneaking into America with no social security card and no green card and getting your job. No. The threat to some of these jobs are from people who have never stepped foot on American soil and who never will. But there are agents working in America legally. They're American citizens who are stealing American jobs from fellow American citizens and giving them to people who have never and will never step foot on American soil, will never pay American taxes, will never buy products in America and pay American sales tax. They will never live in America. They don't want to live in America. But they want American jobs. Stay tuned tomorrow. It's going to be a great show. Political Paula, out.